Welcome to part 4 of knitting the Huron wrister. Now we are going to work on moving into your finger ribbing. So you have completed your color work and the last round of brown. So now it's time to reattach your white, and as I mentioned before in a previous segment, that I have trimmed. I did cut my white as I worked the color band. So now we have to reattach the white and do the 3 rounds of stockinette stitch. So we cut our color and we work those in as floats when we start up again. And again, the process is straightforward to attach a new piece of yarn. So you just insert your needle into your first stitch as if to knit, wrap your new strand, in this case the off-white, and knit as normal. And then you can carry that tail behind your work as you go and work it in as a float. So eventually it will be worked into the rest of your knitting. So just knit all the way around in the off-white. Do 3 rounds of off-white, and then at the beginning of the next round of the last round, once you finish your stockinette stitch, then you start your ribbing. So you do 3 rounds of stockinette and then you work your ribbing. Okay, so you just repeat that all the way around. I have done some editing in this this last video, so we can fit everything in. So you go around again, complete your 3 rounds. So you just keep repeating that. You just do the round in the off-white. So once you've done your 3 rounds in stockinette stitch, then we're going to start up the ribbing. So at the beginning of your round, you do 2 knit and then 2 purls. to the front to do your purl. The experienced knitters will know how, and if any beginners, just a little reminder, yarn to the back for your knits. So it's knit 2, purl 2 all the way around. And you just keep going until you get to your beginning of your round, and then you just repeat that. And as the pattern says, you go for you knit your ribbing for about 1.5 inches. So I'm just showing you that what the purls, you should have a bump for your purl. If you're a beginner, you should see there's a visible bump, and that way you can check and make sure your setup round is ready to do your ribbing. So now you're ready to knit your 1.5 inches of ribbing. So, as you can see in the image, I've done that. Now we're going to, I wanted to show you how to do the thumb hole. And the thumb hole is a simple cast off of 4 stitches. And that creates the opening, and then you cast on the other side of the last needle. And I'll show you how to do that. So at the beginning of the round, you're going to cast off 4 consecutive stitches. I like the ribbing around the fingers because it sort of is tight and it keeps the fingers a little warmer. Going to cast off, so you just knit. We'll put so you knit 1, and for the beginners, if you've never done it, you knit another stitch, and then what you do to bind off, you pull that first stitch just over the second stitch. In this situation, I'm knitting and purling my ribbing as had that the way that's been established. So you knit or purl, that situation it's a purl, and then you pull that first stitch off, so you're binding off as you go. And the pattern asks for you to bind off 4. One more. If ever in doubt, just count. Just count your stitches. See how many you've bound off. At this stage, you continue your ribbing pattern. So you just go back to that. Knit 2, purl 2 all the way around to the beginning of the round. I have edited, as I've said, I have edited portions out that are repetitive because I wanted to fit as much as I could into this video. So you repeat your ribbing all the way around. Knit 2, purl 2. you get to the end of this round, that's when you add those 4 stitches back on again, and then that is what creates the hole in your knitted fabric, is the bind off and then the cast on. Okay, so we're now at the end of that round. Now at this stage you cast on 4. I'm just going to do just a quick method around my fingers. Hopefully you could see, and if not, if you need more, there's just try to pause the video and take a closer look. And then the next round you knit as normal. Just as you just go back to your ribbing as established. So essentially what you've done is you've created a hole, and that will work for the thumb opening. So you just keep going, knit 2, purl 2, all the way around, and then you continue on. You will continue on for another 1.5 inches before you bind off the mitt. And there's the thumb hole. I just wanted to show you that. At any stage, at this stage, you can redistribute your needles if you want to just move them around so that you have the equal number of stitches on each needle. But it's not necessary. You can work with it as it is. As I've said before, I enjoy working in the round, because just that means that there's no seam at the end of your when you're finished knitting your project. There's no real finishing other than weaving in the ends with a darning needle. Any little last bits, that any yarn tails or anything. And you just work along doing your ribbing. This mitt is a very quick knit for experienced knitters. I've talked to some who have worked with it, and they can do this. They can do a pair of these very quickly. So it was designed to be friendly, as I've mentioned before. It's a quick weekend knit, and it's enough of a challenge with the color work there to keep people interested. And the yarn is lovely, and the variety of colors that have been included with the kits are wonderful to work with. And there's lots of yarn in the kits that I've mentioned before. There's lots left over if you want to use them for other projects. Okay, quick edits here and there. Hopefully it's not too jarring. This is my first real series of how-to tutorial videos. So I just wanted to show you how the thumb looks. So you just continue on with your ribbing for another 1.5 inches until you're ready to bind off. And as you can see in this video, I have done that. There's my thumb hole there. And now I'm going to show you how to bind off. It's just the same that you did for the thumb hole. You knit one, and then knit the next stitch, and then pull that first stitch over the second, and that essentially is binding off. And then you just repeat that all the way around. In this situation, I did knit one, then bound off, and just followed it around. I followed my ribbing. So if it was 2 purls, I did, purl and then a bind off. And then you just do that all the way around the mitt. So as you can see, if you're an experienced knitter, you can see that this is a very quick pattern to work up and get done. You could do this on a weekend, if not even a day, if you're a very, very fast knitter. So away you go. There we go. Almost to the last. That's the last one. So you just pull that out, you pull that loop out, and we're going to cut the yarn and then pull it through. So once that's done, then I would get a darning needle and finish up my ends, weave that end into your work, and you're done. And that's a Huron wrister, and that's how you make a Huron wrister. Now that size would fit a child about 8 to 10 years old, and extends up over the fingers for them. And that's the Huron wrister. And thank you very much for joining me and listening to my tutorials and supporting my work.